first of all, let me tell you something. Lamont is just full of
Sometimes my mama said, you know, when you don't have nothing nice to say, you should be quiet.
People say that Stephen A. is a coon. You agree with that? Everybody got quiet on that one? Okay, Lamont, go ahead.
Rudy Giuliani practices voodoo.
What?
So he put a voodoo hex on my girl, Hillary, and that's why she got woozy.
Yo.
And the Secret Service had to prop her up and put her in the van.
Bro, take us to a break, my dude.
It was voodoo, son.
I don't know about that voodoo.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is Three Black Guys with a Mic. What is really good? Welcome to Three Black Guys with the Mic, the podcast where politics meet pop culture and hip-hop debate style. What's good? I'm Spud, along with my man MJ Scales and my man Lamont Hayes.
Can you give me 1 second? I'm trying to get out of Clubhouse real quick.
Is that right?
You know, you got to be in Clubhouse at least 6 to 8 hours a day. You know what I'm saying? So give me 1 second.
6 to 8 hours.
I don't know how cats spend that much time up in there. And you know what I also have found? Not just about the record label cats, but there are a lot of people out here who are on, like, they are experts at everything. They use.
Oh, this end of the year, right? So we at, hold on.
This what we doing today, baby. This what we doing today.
Okay,
This is how it's going down today. Yes. Well, I can't, now they just fucked that up. All right. Anyway. Oh, that's not supposed to be.
Are you playing that for Ecstasy? R.I.P. Ecstasy?
Hey! Hey!
Lamont.
What y'all know about this? What you know
Hold
about
on,
this,
I'm trying to log out. Hold on.
Yeah, hold on. Wait a minute. Don't challenge me, because 5 minutes of funk.
The dog in the mix now?
Now the dog. Did the dog click the link to be a guest or nah?
Come on, 1 for trouble.
Oh, Lord.
2 for bass.
Okay.
Come on, man. Give us some love.
Hey, man, on the
5
real.
minutes of funk. This ain't no little more bottom out street stuff. Feels real pretty, city to city. And now we're getting down to the nitty gritty. Come on, man. I thought that you would be on that one.
That's my joint.
No. Here's what's really scary is a couple of weeks ago, I got a rotation of records that, from my childhood, you know what I mean? When your mama would come in the house and say, turn that noise down. And I was playing One Love because, kicking my little leg out in the video, throwing up, I swear to God, I was throwing that leg out. You know what I'm saying?
You had to bend sideways with your hands. You should, one love. That was my joint. Now I was a Houdini fan. Loved Houdini. I still love Houdini. R.I.P. Ecstasy. My dude is gone, but not forgotten for sure.
No, for sure. Shout out to everybody who's on with us. Welcome to Three Black Guys with the Mic. Shout out to Tina. Shout out to Myron Johnson. Let us know where you are from. Check in with us. Let us know your location. We got a lot to, get to today. First of all, just like Maynard just said, R.I.P. to Ecstasy, who passed away a couple of days ago.
Yeah, go ahead, bro. Listen, Listen.
Go ahead. Yes, you can.
Well, wait, can I ask a question before you go? Where you getting ready to go? I think.
Yes.
Maynard, this is last minute. We are rodeo around here. If he going where he might be going now or later, we're gonna need to bring in a female to give a rebut, because I got something to get off my chest.
Well, we got Tina and Danielle lined up. The link is. Click on the link, ladies, and get in on the show.
Well, whenever we get ready, but we're gonna wait on Flood. Whenever Flood says.
to discuss. So shout out to if you guys want to be a part of the show, there's a link in the actual chat. You can actually be on the show live and give your comment. All you have to do is hit that link, and then we will invite you directly into the show. Shout out to Danielle Scott in Savannah, Georgia. Shout out to Michael Bennett, who checked in with us. Shout out to Tina, who checked in with us as well. Thank you so very much to our tribe for being with us. I just want to say 2 things. This is no disrespect at all. No disrespect. No disrespect to the family. This is just my suggestion this is not just for this family. This is for all families.
Something disrespectful about to come up, but go ahead.
I'm so scared now.
I know.
It's the fact. It's just the fact, and we got to do more. We got to do better. Now, Maynard, you grew up on the East Coast. You grew up in the 80s. I'm sure that Ecstasy is a fan. I mean, you are a fan of Houdini as well as Ecstasy and all of your rappers and all your East Coast rappers. And I'm sure that you did not expect for him to pass away this weekend. I'm also sure that you did not expect for his family to put up a $20,000 GoFundMe page for his funeral arrangements.
Too soon, my dude. Too soon. Come on.
We got to get into it. Maynard, listen to me. Lamont, in my documentary, did you or did you not say we have to put away money for long-term care?
Yeah.
Listen.
Okay, Lamont. Lamont, is your name Lamont Maynard?
No, I'm saying, yeah, you did.
For these situations.
But long-term care, like, well, here's a question, and I
don't want to see my icons and my hip-hop heroes putting up money for a GoFundMe page.
Lamont will tell you this, I'm sure. We talking about the last time Houdini had something, it's been 100,000 years ago, and God bless him. But I don't think that they were getting any money back then.
No, they was getting plenty of money. Listen, I got clients.
Lamont, you think they were getting plenty of money?
Listen,
Well,
listen to me. Listen, don't listen to Lamont right now.
Okay.
Listen to me.
All right.
I know that touring bag and those concert bags that they were getting was enough. All right, I'm not saying that they was out here rich. They was driving around and they was, you know what I'm saying, posted and doing major stuff, and they had a major retirement, but they had enough shows to at least not have a $20,000 GoFundMe. You can't, listen to me, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be an a-hole here. I got 20 grand for a funeral right now, and I'm not getting that kind of money. Let me just ask, man, if right now you were buried, do you have enough money to bury you right now?
Yeah.
Lamont, do you have enough money to bury you right now?
I said on this podcast before, I could be buried 100 times over, yes.
So, why are we in the GoFundMe page?
But can I say something? Because I didn't know you was going here. And Maynard, since you didn't want to take it, I'll take this. Here's a real reality is that, you know, we have to understand that we need to be deprogrammed. Because, Spud, here's a reality. And you could probably ask any booker when the tours are going. You could probably get Houdini 15, 20, 25, 30,000 for the group. You know, we can call, I hate that I keep mispronouncing this good brother's name. We can call Suleiman. Is that how you pronounce the brother's name?
Suleiman.
Yeah, Suleiman.
Suleiman. And please, I apologize to the brother because I was talking about him the other day. He was in the room and it was so much good stuff talking about that brother. That brother has a good rep around the world, I understand, with that venue with Shane Park. And they were just talking about how that Jewel, or Aretha Franklin, excuse me, him, blah, 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 blah. But I'm sure we can call that good brother, and he'll tell you, if you want a Houdini, you at least 15, 20 G. So that means in a month's time, when it was a tour, you're right, Spud, he could have brought it, even if he was just getting 5 G a show, for him. You know, we know what a term life or a whole life or whatever it is to run up a insurance policy. It ain't really that much.
So is this a scam? I mean, is the family scamming?
No, I think unfortunately when people pass away, it sometimes shows, you know, what we always said before is that money doesn't come with instruction. You know what I'm saying? Some people and their planning and how they execute or what they may have going on, we never know. God bless, you know, Aretha Franklin. Aretha Franklin passed away without a will. She didn't have a trust. She had hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of sound exchange checks just laying in the house. You would never think that Aretha Franklin would not have a will. You know what I'm saying? So it's
True.
just it's you know, estate planning, unfortunately, in our community historically has not been what it needs to be. And be clear, I said it to both of y'all before. I said in the documentary, until I got married, my wife said to me, nigga, I got money to bury you. You know what I'm saying? We have money for that. But what we don't have is this. And that opened my eyes up to a whole different world where some people ain't even got to the burying part. You feel what I'm saying? But what they're paying in DTE with the new iPhone 12, the new, I don't know, pick another toy, the iPods and all the other kind of the
PS5.
PS5.
You know, you can minus a PS5 for Christmas, and that could be your premium for 2 years. You feel what I'm saying?
Well, here's the thing, though, and then you're right that you probably could have messed around and picked up new Houdini for 20 stacks. But how many dates are they going to get? Right?
They're getting days.
They was getting dates. They was getting enough.
When's the last time Houdini was on?
The only reason why I'm saying it's facts. Only
Yeah.
reason why I'm saying it's facts is because most of my clients, I can put it to you like this. I got a good, strong 15 concert promoter clients. All right, that's consistently doing business, right? Not one-offs. Out of those 15 clients, 8 of them are doing old school concerts. Those old school concerts are consisted of Houdini, Dougie Fresh, Big Daddy Kane, Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike, you know, all those hip hop old school, you know, joints. They put, you know what I'm saying, E40 on them, but they put Houdini on. Shane Park probably is booking Houdini once a year. I mean, the last time I saw Houdini in concert, it was Run DMC, Eric B. and Rakim, Houdini. That was just 2 years ago, 3 years ago, probably. So I know that for a fact. So I know that the money, and again, I'm not counting the man's pockets. I'm not being disrespectful to his family. You know, if the man needs money, I just donated to Dr. Dre and his, you know, his foundation, you know, for diabetes, and he lost his eye and so forth and so on. But, and so we don't know. And we know in the mind, you can, you know what I'm saying, take the ball and run with it. We know that people in music don't have good money management skills. A lot of them don't have good money management skills. And a lot of them do lose money. We talked about this on this podcast where T-Pain went from having $12 million to not being able to buy Burger King. And you're like, bro, you can't buy Burger King? And you had 12 stacks? You had 12 M's? So all I'm saying is, I don't like to see, and not that, you know, don't beat me up, Maynard, because I know white people do the same thing too.
Of course.
I'm just saying,
by the white folks, yeah.
It's disturbing to see my people having to go on GoFundMe to get 20 grand for a hip hop icon. I mean, Russell Simmons could drop that. Anybody could drop that. I'm just saying he should not, you know, we should not have to be seeing him in that situation. So my point was, my friends, we have to learn how to prepare for death, because as we know, no matter what, we going out of here. Now, where we going, we don't know, but we going somewhere, and it ain't here. One of these days, you're going to go from this life to another life, and we got to prepare for whatever that next life is. I mean, the man died unexpectedly. So not even beyond the financial, I mean, just even beyond the financial, you got to live your every day with your family, with the things that matter, not with the stupid stuff and the drama and the BS. We just got to just live our lives just to the fullest and have fun as much as possible. So I just wanted to just kind of get that off my chest. I'm not trying to disrespect the man. I'm just saying, hey.
But Spud, I don't think it's a disrespect. I think it is having the conversation, because we will have a very angry George Floyd conversation and rah, and the other young lady that lost her life in Kentucky. I'm sorry. Come on, man.
Taylor.
Breonna Taylor. and again, yes, those things are very important. But I think there's a lot of things that we have to do in our community to really, like you said, have the conversation. You know, we talked about Allen Iverson a few weeks ago, right? And how, you know, Reebok, you know, and I don't think it was just Reebok as a whole. I think it also was his team, you know, in the beginning that made sure that, you know, that he didn't get all that bread up front, that they put certain things in place. They did X, Y, and Z in order to make sure that the rest of his life would be taken care of. And sometimes it's about the people that's around you to make those things work and happen. So, again, I'm with you 100%. There's no reason why, you know, there should not have been some sort of, you know, plan in place years ago. You know what I mean? Yep. Did he get robbed by Jive? Yes. All of the artists, unfortunately, you know, they probably didn't get all of the money that they were supposed to get over the years, but to put
Everybody got robbed at Jive except for Robert.
No, he really got robbed. He's getting raped right now, financially.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yo, we got Tina who wants to come in on this. I mean, y'all want to hear from Tina?
I need Tina to chill until it's time to really get into who I'm going to call the character of this movie, a whore. So let's hold tight until we get to that.
Okay, let's get into okay, so Tina, just hold up 1 second.
Hold on.
We gotta get on. We gotta do the 3 Black Guys with the Mike Men on Film version.
Oh Lord.
So there's a couple of movies that let's just get into Sylvia's Love because that's where Lamont wants to go.
Yeah.
If you have not seen the movie Sylvia's Love, it's on Amazon Prime right now. I forgot the girl's name, Tessa Thompson. Yeah, Tessa Thompson. She was in Creed. She was in Men in Black International.
Dear
She's
White
a very good
People.
actress. Shout out to Aja Naomi King. She was in it as well. And so I'm just gonna let Lamont go ahead and, because I'm gonna debate you on this one, Lamont.
Well, let us get a disclaimer. Lamont's views are his own.
No, and let's be clear. I had to clear this with my wife because she told me that there are some producers of that movie that we know. And she said, Lamont, what you're going to say is going to offend some people. But this is my truth. Because if Lil Nas X can walk around in a dress, and that's his truth, my opinion should be my truth for this movie. And this is not towards the actress. Well, if you haven't watched it yet, I'm sorry, Daniel. I got to get this off. So just go ahead and log off.
We won't spoil it for you.
No, I'm going to spoil it. She can log off. Yeah, come on back. But the character, not her as an individual, because I don't know the young lady, and we all understand that these are actors and actresses. But in my opinion, the character in this movie, in this piece of art, in my opinion, was a whore. She started off the beginning of the movie as a whore. Now,
no, she did not.
No, here's what I mean when I say that. Listen to me. And this is my opinion. She started off the movie working in a record store with her dad, a family record store, right? And she was engaged to be married, correct?
That is correct.
This is
Her
true.
fiance was somewhere overseas working, trying to bring home some bacon, correct?
Right.
That's correct.
She decided to have eyes for another man. While she was engaged, while she was having eyes for him, she ended up having sex with this other character who is Kerry Washington's husband in real life, in his character.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's her real
I
husband.
thought Kerry Washington's husband was a football player.
That's dude. That's dude.
Oh, who knew?
Yeah,
He
exactly.
the movie as well.
Exactly. Good acting. I get it. Now, and he also understood that she had a fiance. So he is just as bad. But here's where it goes to another level. Her character, gets pregnant with his baby while her fiance is overseas. She does not even tell the man that I'm cheating on my fiance with you with your baby. She don't tell him that. He decides, he goes off to wherever he's going to be a musical character. He don't know that he's a pappy. Now, good God, if that was the other way around, the black man is a deadbeat, X, Y, and Z, but we calling this love. Just stick with me for a minute. So he goes off. She runs into him a few years later while the baby's around. By this time, she done got married to this same fiance guy that she done cheated on with, right? She sees him on the street in the city somewhere in Manhattan. Next thing you know, she shows up at his hotel, at the Plaza Hotel, to break him off a piece of that funk. Mary, my guy.
Some Steve Hightower biz.
Hold up, I ain't finished.
Romeo and Bullethead were outside waiting.
Hold up. She breaks him off a piece of that funk. She's married with his baby and don't tell him. Now, she told her daddy, and if you remember in the thing, the daddy says, yo, did you let him know that, no, I ain't tell him yet. Okay, fine. So then she goes and spends some more time with her husband, and she says, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. So then she tells her husband, well, X, Y, and Z, and then she decided to tell my man, well, you got a baby that we had years ago, and I'm just not telling you that. So now I'm going to leave my husband, and I'm going to run off into the sunset with you. Now, y'all telling me that that's love. And I was always told, just remember how you got him, because that might be a different way if you keep him or how this thing ends off. So in my opinion, y'all telling me that's love? Because it sounds like she was passing.
But she did get with the man at the end, though.
So we just going to just gloss over that she had a baby on this dude. She didn't tell him this. She was cheating on her husband, my dude.
Well, she wasn't cheating on her. Well, she did cheat on her husband.
No, she went to his hotel, remember?
Yeah,
She said, let me
she
get
cheated
you a
on him
piece of
one
this
time.
phone.
One good time.
Oh, that's what we doing
But
now?
she wasn't happy in the marriage. She wasn't happy. She was This was the man that she was in love with, madly in love with. This was her long lost love. This was the passion.
We cannot
This
make
was
this.
the one and only.
Listen. We cannot make this personal, but I'm gonna make it personal.
Oh my goodness.
That kind of bullshit going on in my house, we got a problem. That ain't love.
So you would not allow for your wife to go and be with the man that she is madly in love with since umpteen years and stay with you and be unhappy.
And I'm raising somebody else's baby thinking it's mine. Yo, dog. That's love? That's what we doing?
Let's get to Tina and then let's kind of circle back, you know what I'm saying? Let's see what Tina has to say. If you guys want to, you know what I'm saying, make a comment, you're more than welcome. All you have to do is click the link inside of the chat and you could share your comment with everybody else. Shout out to Keith King who came on. What's up, Keith King? Shout out to Tresson. Shouts out to Kelly Collins. Shouts out to Melanie, I think came on.
Melanie.
Hello there, pretty lady. How are you?
Tina, what's up?
Not much. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Hey, Tina.
All right.
What you got for Lamont on this issue?
And tell me that that's love.
It's scandalous. You act like people have been doing this all the time.
Scandalous?
Scandalous. Yeah.
It's scandalous, but it's a love story. You know,
it's real.
It's a love story.
It's real.
I know a lot of people were all in love with this. I was not. You know.
Did you see the movie, Tina?
I just saw it and said I wasn't interested.
You wasn't interested. It was a good movie. We gotta support. We gotta support our black films, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So
not all of them
I turned
deserve
it on.
support, though.
Maybe not all of them. All right. So Tina, what was your other comment? Because I know you came on before Lamont decided he wanted to go off on and call a woman a whore. I don't know why you would do that.
No, I said, let's be clear. The character in the movie, and I'm going to say this again. So basically what we're doing in our community, and Mr. Hotep, he's so quiet today, is we're promoting infidelity.
We're not promoting it. It's a story, Lamont. Nobody's saying this is how you should go live your life.
Wait, made it. Did you not
Wait,
sit
she
here
wasn't
last
by
week and
herself.
tell us how you are, is certain stories that you're giving to your beautiful daughter to make sure that she's well-rounded in her understanding of the world, correct? So
Certainly, yeah, I do that. But this wasn't a movie that was for her anyway. She ain't been in love with nobody, had sex with nobody.
Tina, I know. Sorry. Go ahead with your comment, love.
I just made the point that she wasn't by herself. She wasn't laying in bed alone.
See?
Good point.
Well, I'm sorry. No. Yes, ma'am. Yes. He is just as responsible, but I'm trying to understand why is this called a love story and not the story of
Because
adultery
it's
and lying
listen.
and cheating.
Because it was her heart it was love that brought her back to old boy. It's a love story, man.
Yeah.
Love that that they want. Every person has that love that whether it be high school sweetheart, whether it be, somebody back in the day, everybody has that particular person that they're like, man, I wish I could be with this person. This person was the best thing.
Absolutely.
I had the best time of my entire life with this person. Now, you ain't got to act on it, but everybody has that person.
That one person that's always, basically, they can always get it.
Is it
Yeah, so
is it just
Tina, who's
one
that
though?
for you?
Is it just one? I mean, 3, 4.
Who is that person for
You know what I'm
you?
saying?
You got a person? Go ahead and shout him out who he is right now, so that way we all know.
No hard pass on that.
Thank you so very much for always being a part of the show. Thank you so very much, Tina, for your comments tonight.
Yeah, anything you want to add real quick before we let you go, Tina?
No, I enjoyed the show. Keep it up, guys.
Thank you,
You got us
sweetie.
so very much. We truly appreciate that. Shout out to let's see, Kojo Hughes, who joined us.
That's my
I think
one and
Lynn.
only barber right there, Kojo.
What's up, Kojo? Lynn checked in with us. Let us know where you are. I can't see everybody because I can't see that far. So, I'm saying, excuse me on that one. Taisha Grace, what's up, Taisha? Thank you so very much for checking in as well. Let us know where you're from. When you check in with us, let us know where you're from.
Any new
Let's
people?
talk about a couple of more movies before we go. Did you guys see Ma Rainey's Black Bottom?
Yeah.
No, you didn't see it, Lamont?
No, because I'm still hurt that we let this whole debauchery and adultery and we said that shit is love. No, I don't. I turn my TV off. I'm not watching that.
Turn your TV off.
Yeah.
I will say this though. I thought the movie was cute. I thought that it was cute. It was. I just appreciate that, they had the Detroit element in it. I thought that was good.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, it wasn't. I think it was one of those romantics, as my niece would say, it was a rom-com. And, that was what it is. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Maynard, what did you think about it?
Understanding that it's a stage play and not really a movie, I enjoyed it. I think for me, you had these big names that everybody was looking forward to seeing, Viola Davis and Chadwick Boseman, but Glenn Turman, he delivered a pretty good performance, a very good performance, and I enjoyed it.
I thought it was good as well. I didn't think it was like. Here's the one thing, because I'm a history buff. I appreciate. I don't know if you saw the outtakes or the whatever. There's like a behind the scenes on Netflix as well.
I picked that by accident one day. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah.
And I thought that, that to me was more intriguing than the movie. I thought that, like you said, Maynard, the acting was stellar. I mean, you just, the acting was amazing. But to really, give August Wilson his props, for all of the things that he has done. George, I forgot his name, the director who did it, all black cast. I mean, well, not all black cast, but majority, black cast. I thought it was good. What was amazing to me was Ma Rainey and her fondness for girls, which basically says that, women have been liking women, and homosexuality and lesbianism has been going on for years and years and years and years and years. Not that that matters, but I'm glad that they were able to show that.
George Wolf says no.
Thank you so very much. I thought, it was cute. It was something that, it was all right. The Coming to America trailer.
Thanks, but no thanks.
No, I'm not trying to see Coming to America. I mean, there are certain movies, in my opinion, you just kind of like leave alone. And I think that that's one of them that you just leave alone. I don't want to see Wesley Snipes as Colonel Aziz. I want to see the original people as the original people. You know, I'm Patrice is not in this one. That's, you know, even though I went and did some digging on that one, but I don't Coming to America. Call Joe. I'm sorry. That one's not going to be hot, in my opinion. That one's going to be a Obama bad day. I'm not feeling that one.
No.
I am excited to see Judas and the Black Messiah. I am excited to see that, and I'm excited to see, you know what I'm saying, American Skin as well. I think that one of the things as we continue to grow older and we continue to, like, you know, do research on our history, and like more people are starting to tell these stories. Lamont, I think you said it about Malcolm X on, you know what I'm saying, the podcast as well, is about how amazing it is on how the government infiltrated all of these organizations. And, you know, I never even knew, and I'm a Malcolm X fan, and I read a lot on Malcolm X, and I never knew that he had, you know what I'm saying, somebody that was, you know, basically a snitch. And to see, you know what I'm saying, somebody who was snitching in the Black Panther Party, I didn't know that until I saw the documentary about a year and a half ago. And so I'm excited to see, you know what I'm saying, that movie as well. American Skin, I'm actually, you know what I'm saying, excited to see. That's with Spike Lee and Nate Turner. But, and I don't care what y'all say, Power is getting better.
Womp, 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 womp.
No. All right. Okay, so Lamont, continue on. What else did you want to talk about?
I don't know. I just didn't know it was called love, and you just.
What is it called, Lamont?
Keep
Is it
the
called
bait.
tourism?
What-
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with sleeping around until you find the man that you really want to sleep with?
You talking about, especially when you're married?
Especially when you're married.
Because it's three married dudes on here, right? So if I'm just trying to figure out how would that work.
You won't.
So I would probably say this: that old boy. I'm not talking about that movie. I'm just talking about in general.
Right.
No, wait a minute. Wait a minute, Lamont. I didn't say anything yet. Damn. You probably know that you're not. You probably know that you're not really working out. You probably know that you're not working out. There's no way in the world that your old lady is, you know, has a baby by another dude. We understand that to be something, and then, you know, I mean, you've been in relationships where you knew that y'all really weren't going where y'all thought y'all were going.
Wait, but you don't know that in a relationship, though.
Yeah, I do. I've never been in a scenario where I thought, man, everything is great, and then she came and was like, you know what? I want to be with you, and I was like caught off guard. Like, I always have known.
Yeah, but
like,
that's marriage, though. I mean, I'm sure.
No. What I'm saying, hold on. What I'm saying is, every time that I've ever been in a relationship with someone, when it wasn't the way it was supposed to be, I've never been caught off guard. I always knew, yeah, this chick ain't really feeling me that way, or I'm not really feeling her that way. And it's never been a surprise. Like, I had no idea you felt this way. Like, yeah, I kind of knew. I was just holding on to see how long you were going to be around.
Yeah, but my man wasn't like that. He knew that there was somebody else. I mean, he you know what I'm saying? He knew.
Exactly. So he already
already
knew.
Homeboy.
So he already knew then. He already knew that she had stepped out while he was away. Because he know that he been gone long enough that he ain't had no baby, that he wanted the baby pappy. So he knew that there was something else. And so as a result, he was holding on to hope. Like, I hope this don't go sideways. It went sideways. But he wasn't caught off guard by it.
Yeah, but he was also a little bit controlling, and I'm sure during that time, you know, she was trying to show her royal oats. I mean, spread her wings and, you know, do her thing, and he wouldn't let her do her thing. So I mean, you know,
What she got
in
married,
that scenario.
giving away the box.
Oh my goodness. Now you didn't call it a box. Oh my goodness.
That's what the young people call it, man.
Now people have been calling the box a whole lot longer than we've been alive. But
Before she got married, dudes shot up the club. I don't know what they were doing in that time, but wasn't no magnums, obviously. Shot up the club, and they had a baby, my dude, and she still went and married my man.
But hold on, my man still wait a minute, Lamont. Wait a minute, my man still went and married her.
They are marrying dudes already nowadays, and back then as well. We're just like, yo, you got a kid, you got a kid. What you gonna do?
And all I'm saying is, some of our good friends, and I was getting ready to post, oh, this is the best love story ever, and this is great, and this is boom. I'm done, my guy. Like, I'm saying, if that's love, that's why a lot of people ain't married, obviously. If that's what they call it love, my dude.
So what is love? Kojo asks what what is love in your opinion? What is love in your opinion?
First of all, love is not that. Not when you go have a baby on somebody
Love
else.
is patient. Love is kind. No, I'm just kidding.
It is not jealous.
Love is not jealous.
I hate to say this, but actually love has some rules. Love has respect. Love has some boundaries. You feel what I'm saying? That ain't. And promoting and saying that this is a love story.
So wait. So let me just go before we wrap this up.
Yeah,
So you mean to tell me that Swiss Beats is in love with Alicia Keys? Just ask.
He's still get some of them Swizzy checks. He better watch his mouth.
I need to be cool, Playboy. Really? Next subject.
You want to get some of them Swizzy checks? You better watch your mouth.
Yeah, okay, I'm done. But I'm done.
Okay, I'm just saying. It happens, and it just doesn't happen to Swiss Beats. It happens to them a lot.
A lot.
Every day. All the time. It happens.
You ain't never seen World Star Hip Hop and seen two girls fighting in the parking lot with weeds all over the place? It happens all the time.
I don't. World Stars like drinking bleach. I don't watch that before. I'm good. I'm done.
Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade. Very good point, Roderick. I'm just saying, Lamont, love is what you go after. If you are in love with somebody, and that's who it's supposed to be, that's who it's supposed to be.
Even when you're married.
Look,
you can wake up one day and say, hey, we've been married for 15 years. But
there's a mental part and then there's a heart part. And the heart wants what the heart wants. It is what it is. But, we talked about this for a good little bit. Lamont, you see it your way. I see it differently. Spud seems to see it differently as well. We ain't gonna help you understand it. We just know that when the book come out about your side babies.
No, we don't play that game. Let's be very clear. We don't play that game.
All right. So where we going, Maynard? Where do you want to go? I want to let's get into this stimulus package real quick. Because you guys kind of debated on on the chat. The good, the bad, the ugly of the stimulus package. The good is that the House, they just signed, the $2,000. So it looks like, those who are making less than $75,000 will get the $2,000. That's good.
Well, let me slow it down for a second. Two things. So Lamont sent the other day. You sent out that text with Candace Owens breaking down how all this is a stimulus.
Here we go.
Huh?
Here we go.
It's a stimulus bill, and it's this and it's that and it's the other, and blah blah blah. And I said that Candace is wrong. She's incorrect. And it's not that she's wrong or incorrect necessarily. It's that she has chosen to position this like it's something that it's not. And she did this. It was very brilliant how she did it. But let us remember, this bill had less to do with the stimulus and more to do with preventing the government from shutting down tonight. So that all the monies that were going to all those other things, that wasn't the stimulus bill. That was the normal paying of all the other bills of the government. Whatever the government decides to make investments and put in the budget. And remember, Congress doesn't make the budget. Nancy Pelosi doesn't make the budget. Mitch McConnell doesn't make the budget. Those bills that were getting paid were Donald Trump's budget. Donald Trump makes his budget. It's up to Congress to pass the budget. So those things that were in there, other than the stimulus bill, were things that were part of Donald Trump's budget. Period. End of story. So that's why I said she was wrong. And I don't want to say she's wrong. She's lying. She's telling lies of omission. She's not telling the whole truth here. That's one. Two, again, it's not a stimulus bill. The stimulus bill is part of a larger thing. Right? It's kind of like, oh, your house got hit by a hurricane. You want to fix it up. And you got to do all the things you got to fix it up. But, oh, by the way, we never did get those fancy new drapes in the living room. Let's put the fancy new drapes on. The fancy new drapes are the stimulus portion. Everything else was what was required just to make the house work. So, we are just, I don't necessarily say these things are the best way to spend these dollars, but for how she positioned it was this. Now, where we also are right this minute is we're getting $600. Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats heard Donald Trump say he wants this $2,000 thing, and if it's $2,000 or $1,400 when it all comes out in the wash, who knows? But Mitch McConnell is not.
I think it's passed already.
The House.
I think they passed that tonight.
The House.
Oh, okay.
It still has to pass the Senate, but Donald Trump still has to sign it. Now, Donald Trump and his people said they wanted a stimulus bill months and months ago. He said send out $300. Nancy Pelosi and them wanted $1,200 again, or larger. They arrived at $600. Then Donald Trump didn't say anything for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then all of a sudden, he said, oh, $600 isn't enough. And then he did what last night? He signed the $600. He did not veto it. So he's playing politics. What he's trying to do is he's trying to put a wedge between him and Republicans who he feels like he doesn't have, who he feels like they don't have his back.
Lamont?
So, Maynard, what you're saying is that there is a combined stimulus bill along with the regular bills up that are due for the United States government, correct?
No, I'm saying that they've taken the regular bills to keep the government from shutting down and added the stimulus bill with it. And so it's slightly different. It sounds the same, but it's slightly different from what I think you just said. It's not a combined stimulus bill. The stimulus bill was combined into a larger package.
So that's what I'm saying. So
okay.
What Donald Trump signed was the stimulus bill, which also included other things for the military.
Whoa. Say that again. Which Donald Trump signed is a what?
Okay. You said Donald Trump, because first you could, okay, let's go back to confusion. First you said, what did Donald Trump sign? He signed a stimulus bill, correct?
No.
He didn't. So tell me what he signed.
He signed a bill to keep the government funded. And the stimulus package became part of it.
Okay. So
He's right. Mike Barnett says it perfectly. He signed the regular budget, and the stimulus bill is a portion of the regular budget.
So what we're told every day on the news and in the media, you're saying is incorrect because it wasn't just a stimulus bill, correct?
Correct. That's true. And I think the reason why we're told it this way is because the stimulus bill is political. It's not political for the vast majority of Americans. It's not political whether or not we send money to the Smithsonian Museum. Most Americans, we send money there. We don't. We do. We don't. I don't know. Did they get $10 million? Did they get 11? We don't know. We don't care. But we do care that we're going to get a stimulus bill, and so does Wall Street. Wall Street wants to know what's going to happen in the economy. Are people going to have money to pay these bills that are coming due in January from Christmas?
Okay, and again, I just want to make sure because I'm looking at the bill, and it said at the top of the bill that this is the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so within this 5,000 pages, which I've read maybe about a good 40 of it, you're absolutely correct. It breaks down, about the Department of Defense, Veterans Affairs, and State Regulatory Agency, and blah, 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 blah. And again, 5,000 pages. Homeland Security, and then you break all of those things along with the stimulus, quote unquote, package. The only thing I'm saying is that what we're fed every day is only about the stimulus package. So that's where we go with the I don't want to say misinformation, but it kind of goes with what you said. It's almost like snackable content, because obviously we couldn't understand what the Department of Veterans Affairs and what they need, and when certain people that we all know take screenshots of what other countries are, quote unquote, given in our stimulus package, which is not really just a stimulus package because it is a consolidated appropriations bill.
Right. And just consider this. If the COVID virus didn't exist, this appropriations package still needed to get signed. We wouldn't be getting checks because there would be no cause for us to get a COVID virus stimulus. But every year, and just consider this much, every couple of years, particularly during this time frame, we're always up against, are they going to sign to continue to, what they used to call a CR, continuing resolution, to continue to fund the government, or are we going to have a government shutdown? So we were on the brink of a government shutdown. Without this, if he did not sign this yesterday, tomorrow, tonight, the government would have shut down. Tomorrow, remember, we've been through this a handful of times in the past 6-7 years. We had seen that, they shut down Yosemite National Park, and then there's nobody at the Smithsonian this week, and So this always was about the appropriation part. The stimulus part is an add-on. That's the gift with purchase.
Can I ask a stupid question? Why did he come out and basically say the same thing that Lamont put in the text message, which was, why are we sending money to the Kennedy Center? Why are we sending money to all these different places? I mean, this is the same bill, basically, like you're saying, that he created, basically. But what was the purpose of him actually coming out and going off on the bill when this was the bill that he basically...
This is the budget that he created. But then he went on and basically created the same narrative as Candace Owens, as Lamont put in our thread, which was, why are we sending money to, to the Kennedy Center? Because I guess to Lamont's point, from a media perspective, it looks as if, American people need money. The unemployment is, about to run out. We haven't had any extension or any stimulus since August, basically. Okay. So here's the deal. We have in this country, we have in this society, and we've agreed, and maybe you all didn't necessarily agree tacitly, but we agreed that there are certain things called public goods. For instance, in Detroit or in New Jersey or here in Virginia, there's a public library on every, 6-7 blocks or whatever the case may be. You can go to. There are officers who ride around the Detroit River on a boat to make sure that people don't get drunk, and you pay for that, right? You pay taxes to pay for police officers to go up and down the waterway, and you don't own a boat, right? You was like, well, why is my money going there? We have private airports, and we call them private airports. They get the use of the FAA, right? We got those buoys that are out in the middle of the ocean and lighthouses. You don't own a yacht. But these are public goods. If they weren't there, things would happen. So we believe that schools are public goods. We believe that libraries are public goods. And we believe that in most instances, particularly in Washington, D.C. and in other parts of the country, that national parks and museums are public goods. Now, the Kennedy Center and some of these other places, they do a lot to educate our school systems. So these are also public goods as well. They have conservatories where people go in and become and learn more about how to play whatever kind of music or whatever kind of art and dance, etc. And that's just part of it. But we act as if this is a big number. I know when you see $65 million going to this group of people, do you think that's a big number? But what it really is a small number. Because if you look at what the Pentagon is spending, the Pentagon is spending $65 million is just running boot camp for a year. That's not.
Yeah, I don't think that the debate the debate isn't about where the money is going. I think the debate and the issue here is that wasn't what was communicated to the American people. Right. I think that, and again, to your point, what you said earlier, if this is business as usual, and if this is basically, the package and, the stimulus was the plus, then fine, but I don't think that I received it that way. And I don't think that the American people received it in that way, because again, to your point, hey, if no one cares about the Kennedy Center. So if they're looking on the news and saying, oh my God, the Kennedy Center is going to get $48 million, you'll be like, I don't care. Right. Nobody cares. So, and people want to know about the actual $600, right. $2,000, or whatever the case may be. The sad part about it, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that the media didn't communicate it to the American people in that way. And then Donald Trump actually came in and put a monkey wrench in it by basically stating the same thing, which was all of these things are wrong. None of this money should be going anywhere, which he's the one who created it. And then we were just, got even more confused by the situation. Then we even got more confused because it went from $600 to actually to $2,000. So the good thing about it is hopefully that the Senate will pass the $2,000. I don't see that happening, but let's just hope that it does.
So I think the one thing is that people don't realize what their government does until they feel like it directly affects them. And so what we should probably say is, similar to what you were saying about, I can't believe the ecstasy ain't got they got to get $20,000 to get them buried. And so what we've discovered is that people aren't planning, or people aren't learning about what their government does and where their money goes when it comes right down to it. And we should probably have been involved and invested in learning about our government and where our tax dollars go. Every time you sign your tax form and you say, look, all right, great, no problem. Or you sign a W-2 and you say, you're going to take 18% or 30% of my check. You should say at the same time, yeah, I'd like to see what the budget is. So we just have to, and now that we found out, now people are like, oh my God, I can't believe they're giving them $38 million, which sounds like a lot of money. It's nothing. It really is nothing.
Well, again, I think that, my point is which you're right, and I agree with that, but I think that the problem is the communication, because like you said earlier, because we are in a pandemic and because there are millions of people that don't have any money and are unemployed, when you see that the Kennedy Center is getting $20 million, or you see this place is getting $100 million in, foreign aid and all this other stuff, and I can't, and first of all, I'm getting a 600, or I'm not getting anything, and this restaurant is closing, and these stores are closing down. Yeah, your first mind is, yo, why in the hell is all this money going to all these other people? And you talking about only giving me $600? It's because the conversation was, it was a $900 billion stimulus bill. That was the conversation. And so that 900, but you're right. Just let me finish. But that $900 billion, when it came up to the American people, when he added it up, it was like far from that. And then we started looking at all of these different other line items where people were getting money that had nothing to do with the American people, when the assumption, being uneducated about the situation, or the narrative was, oh, we're trying to pass this so American people can get back to work, so that jobs can open, so that way restaurants can open, or they can stay afloat, or they can, pay their people, and that way they can continue on until the pandemic is over.
Because them Hellcat bills got to get paid, right, Lamont?
Hellcat.
I mean, I'll just echo what you're saying. because and now that I understand it, and you read the bill, and you're right, Maynard. Most people are not going to look at the 5,000-page bill. They're not going to read it line for line. But the tagline in every paper, every online this, every news this, is that the president signed the stimulus package. What they didn't say was the other stuff that was quote unquote in that bill overall. So again, we were sold again, those of us that don't understand basic math, you're telling us that we need to be fluid in calculus. And I said that they want. No, yes, you did, because
I'm saying
let
familiarize yourself with where your money goes. That's all.
Can I finish?
Go ahead.
As we also said in the chat, and I posted on there, most people didn't understand as well the rules of engagement once the bill passed both houses, that technically, what did we read? That once it gets a certain majority vote, that even if he didn't sign it, it still was going to pass. Correct, Maynard?
Right. It's called. It passed with a veto-proof majority. So he could have vetoed it, and they would have said nope, it passed. But he didn't. So here are a couple of reasons why he didn't want that to occur. A, Donald Trump does not want to look weak. Let's be honest. If he vetoed it and they came and passed it anyway, then it'd make him look ineffective. So he was betting on, all I want to do is stir the hornet's nest, get my, Trumpians out who would come and agree with me, figure a way to turn Candace Owens up so she can go out and she can cherry pick these line items. So think about what she showed us in that clip. The little portion of the text or whatever the case may be is 1 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, less than, to be quite honest, correct? And then she cherry picked these 6-7 things. But you just said a second ago, it's 5,600 pages. So it's every time you look, if you look at feeding your family for the year, and then you say, man, I'm a little bit broke, it's always going to be easy to say, well, y'all bought Twinkies 5 times this year. And that sounds like, well, damn, y'all could have had, steak and eggs and milk and bread. It's easy to say that.
Yeah, but it's also easy to sell an uneducated society that he signed the stimulus bill. When you just said it, he didn't even have to sign it, Spud. He didn't have to sign it. Even if he didn't sign it, all we had to do was wait it out. It's going to become law anyway.
Right, but
So
hold on though.
Being all upset about him signing it and he's holding it up, we didn't even need his signature.
Well, but he doesn't. That would still make him look ineffective. If the bill passes,
we're talking about law. We're not talking about how it made them look.
We get that, but we also understand that everything about Donald Trump is, it's got to somehow be about him. And so what he wants to do, and what he's really, if Donald Trump was smart, right? He says he wants the black vote and he wants to run in 2024. If he goes, you know what? I'm signing an executive order right now. Every black person in the country gets $10,000. That's it. Boom. Maybe that's not the right reparations number, but if he said that right now, he would be. But he doesn't really recognize his ability to have the kind of power he needs. He just wants to make things about him. Yes, sir. Yeah. The chair recognizes Mr. Hayes.
Yeah, because you're talking all of that master's degree Donald Trump. I'm talking about to that person who does not have or has not had a physical, that's waiting on that $600, right? That average person and I read this about one of the grants about poverty and the poverty line and understanding where certain parts of this country, and I did not know it was as much as it is, people who are in real poverty were sitting at home thinking that Donald Trump had to sign the bill, and just very basic, he didn't have to. It was already done. But nobody went on any outlet I saw and said, just hold tight. We already got the votes. We went through this whole melodrama of 2024 and Trump wants to look back. We don't care about that.
But he messed it up, though, Lamont, with the $2,000. Because no, he didn't, Spud. Maynard, help me again. The law says with majority vote, as long as he did not veto the bill,
with the majority votes, the bill was going to be law. Correct,
Yeah,
Nick?
but-
Right, but right now, what you're taking it to is the master's level, reading in the finest of fine prints. All I'm saying is, you can see what he did. Oh, this is you know what this situation is. It's when you are out somewhere. I'm trying to think of somebody who was big. I don't know. There's a cat out here. His name is Frank. He's a security guard at a nightclub. Frank
Big
is
as in fat or big as in like popular?
big as in
like
sizable. And he's 6'9", he's 285 pounds. He's built like a rock. And what basically Donald Trump did is said, let me wait till I get behind. Look, Mitch McConnell, you ain't going to pass this $2,000, are you? Okay, great. I'm going to stand behind you and be like, Frank, I wish you would come across here. That's all Donald Trump did. We can see that he's just flexing, knowing that nobody is going to let him pass the $2,000 bill. But he wants us to go out and say, I tried, y'all. I tried to give y'all $2,000. And Mitch McConnell, because he's mad that Mitch McConnell no longer is on his team, Mitch McConnell is sitting there saying, man, why are you doing this to me? Donald Trump's behind him saying, hold me back. I'm going to give him $2,000. If y'all don't hold me back, I'm going to give this $2,000. Hell, I'll give him $5,000. Hell, I'll give him $40,000. I want the American people to love that they're getting money. But he knows ain't nobody signing that bill. That's all that was. It was just a flex.
All right. Shouts out to Angela Crockett who came on. Shouts out to Wendy, Margaret. Thank you so very much for checking in as well. Before we go, if you are still on with us, we would love for you to participate in this last part of the conversation. And that is, this is our last show for 2020. And we kind of just want to hear from you. And we're going to go around the room and just talk about, what 2020 has taught us, what you have learned from 2020. What's the good, the bad, the ugly of 2020. So let's recap 2020. Maynard, let's start with you. What was your biggest takeaway from, 2020?
I think the biggest takeaway is that, Donald Trump is not Kaiser Sose.
That's your biggest takeaway out of all the things in the whole entire world? You put it on Donald Trump?
No.
Not your life, your family, the things that you... Not
Listen,
anything? No
so let's talk
reflection?
about for a second.
Donald Trump all the time, huh? Just can't let the man go.
Let's talk about for a second what we've been saying on this show for 3 years plus. Oh, Donald Trump is winning. He's winning. He's winning. He's winning. He's winning. He wasn't. He got some. You know what I'm saying? He crossed the finish line. He led in some laps, but remember the race got to be run all the way through. And I got a handful of friends who are like, "Oh my God!" and he's going to steal the election. It's going to happen. And yo, we have to not be afraid of boogeymen. We can take ownership of our lives, of our government, of our politicians, whoever they may be, and say, these are the things that we want. And now that we've gotten, I think particularly as Democrats are concerned, and a lot of African Americans are concerned, we've gotten the president that we think we want, or at least we got rid of Donald Trump. Do not be upset with Joe Biden if he doesn't do what you want him to do, if you have not held Joe Biden to the things that you want him to do. Spend time talking and being engaged with your politicians at every level to put pressure on the government to give you the things that you believe your tax dollars are supposed to pay for. So, despite what everybody thinks, the guy is just, the president is just one other person.
Lamont?
I'll let you go first.
I'm just the host.
My biggest, I think, takeaway is, just focusing on more on what we can control. I think what COVID did, and I was talking to one of the OGs today, is that, it stopped a lot of us moving fast, in the record space, not running to the airport as much. Taught me that, you don't got to go to Del Frisco's and spend $400. I can go to the butcher and get the same meal for $35, especially when the bone-in ribeye is on sale. I think it teaches you about what's important. You know, Christmas Day, even though I didn't like it, I was on the FaceTime with my grandmother. My grandmother's 90 plus, and she was so happy to see her grandbaby. You feel what I'm saying? And I think when it's all said and done, you know, we have been programmed that there are a lot of things that are important, and they're not. You know, even my energy with a lot of the political and the other things that are around us that we're fed to care about, it doesn't matter because, you know, they're going to do what they're going to do. We just have to understand how to educate ourselves, focus in on more on what we can control, and focus on generations to come. I think that's what it's really about, because I think, you know, a lot of things are tools that are used, you know, in order to get us all riled up. And I think Chuck D said, you know, the number one killer of black men is stress. You feel what I'm saying? I think that's a tool that's being used, even though we just got to talk about the bill. A lot of that is BS in terms of how it was sold to us, how it was packaged. You know, how you look at the pandemic, how it's packaged in a certain manner. Oh, and what we didn't talk about is Utopia on Amazon. No matter, I think you spoke on that before, didn't you, Spud?
Mm.
And I just watched it the other day, and I just sat and laughed. And again, I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent, because I don't know. But what I do know is that history is the best teacher, and history has taught us that they have messed over us since we've gotten here. They continue to mess over us. And the reality is that we're commodities to some. You know what I mean? And I think if we understand that, understand our history more, again, I think we've said it many times on this podcast about how documentaries are important, because we need to understand what the history is. You feel what I'm saying? And I think for me, that's what it is, man. That's what it taught me. Slow down a little bit. Let's pay more attention. You know, let's read a little more. You know, don't be afraid of the 5,000 pages. You know what I'm saying? In the bill, it's okay. And that's it.
Okay. All right.
What you got? Are you just gonna skate out without it?
Well, we're over time.
I mean,
Lamont's the king of the time budget, so Lamont.
no, I mean we talked a long time about that character being a whore, so I think we
can't
can
let it go. Huh?
Yeah, we.
No,
can,
I echo what I'm saying. What both of you guys said. You know, I starting with Lamont. I think that, you know, 2020 has showed a lot of us, me in particular, like it's just not that deep. You know, I mean, all of this song and dance and all of these things that, you know what I'm saying, we've been marketed to and advertised to, and all of these things that we think that, you know, are important, and all these things that, you know, we believe that we need to be a part of and we need to own and we need to have, and all these materialistic items that, you know, we need to possess. This is not even that deep. You know, I think that we were able to get down to the bare bones of, you know, what really is important, you know, and that is family, you know, self-care, education, knowledge, and then, you know, going to the Maynard's point about, you know, Donald Trump. Also think it, you know what I'm saying, taught us that, and we talked about this, you know what I'm saying, a couple of times, I believe, you know, on this podcast about, is it a movement or is it a moment? And I think that this year we really developed a movement. You know, we started out this year with George Floyd, you know, and his death. And we thought that was just going to be a moment. You know, I remember Maynard saying it was just going to be a moment. And it ended up being a movement. Breonna Taylor, you know what I'm saying, extended on with that movement. I think we, you know, Lamont, you and I both was like, Sleepy Joe, don't really think it's going to happen. But we all rallied and, you know what I'm saying, we created that movement. And I think that, you know, this was another one of those, this was that year that basically said that we can create a movement, and that if we put our heads together and, you know, we actually unite, then we can actually get some stuff done and make some change. The unfortunate part about it is that black men are still getting killed by the police, and there's still racism, even with black doctors, you know, I mean, and that's never going to change. But I saw Al Sharpton, and even looking back on, one of our civil rights icons, John Lewis, who we lost this year. Fight is never over, man. I mean, that's the unfortunate part about it. We just can't give up, can't throw in the towel. We just got to keep fighting, get knocked down 7 times, get back up, So.
Can I add something that's interesting? I think that's interesting, at least. It was only, we're going to be 29 years roughly since, we'll now actually be 30 years in 21 since Rodney King was beat by those police officers. This March, I believe, would make 30 years. And it was the power of videotape that was critical and important. And the thing that I think that particularly the Black Lives Matter movement is trying to tell us, whereas so many other people are trying to tell us, is this is real. It keeps happening. We've never seen a videotape of a white person having a knee put on their neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, or receiving 84 blows from 4, 5, 6. There were 12 officers on scene that day. And at the end of the day, do we remember what Rodney King was actually guilty of?
He was drunk driving.
Speeding, drunk driving.
Speeding.
Okay, speeding. He's a monster. He's on PCP. He wasn't on PCP. The takeaway will always be he was on PCP. Toxicology report says he wasn't. Oh, George Floyd was on some kind of drug, or he died because of COVID, or it's something else, or whatever. I think we have to recognize that, like you said, the George Floyd thing turned into a movement, but no one has seen anything like that in years. That somebody would just literally just go on. I mean, it's something out of a snuff film. Yes, sir.
What's a snuff film?
I said snuff. I didn't say smut.
I just said snuff. What's a snuff film?
It's a horribly violent film. You know what it is.
Okay.
Lamont,
Right.
your hand, sir?
Like Faces of Death.
Yes, like Faces of Death.
So, this is probably going to get kicked back from all of the feeds because we didn't win so long, but this is the part I don't understand about us. If we understand, and it was said eloquently in that documentary about the automobile, is that the slave catcher in this country was about controlling the movement of slaves, correct? Making sure that the slave was on the plantation, that he was where he was supposed to be, correct?
That is accurate.
And we also understand that the slave catcher is what over time morphed into the police force, correct? Which is about controlling a certain group of people's movement.
There was a police force prior to slavery ending, and those officers, in fact, prior to slavery ending, something like 80% of the people in prison were white. So, but okay.
So I'm just trying to understand, why is this so much still of a surprise if you have this institution that morphed into another institution that is ingrained over hundreds and hundreds and generations of years. Like I just read the other day, there's a big issue in the D. All of the recruits from DPD ain't looking like us. You know what I mean? Like, why are we surprised that it hasn't changed?
I don't think it's us. I don't think that we are.
Not us, but why are we surprised that it hasn't changed?
No, what I'm saying is I'm not surprised it hasn't changed. I think that white America is constantly surprised that these things exist. Like if you told somebody, if somebody told white America, if there was no videotape of George Floyd being murdered, everybody in America would have said, "Oh, that's a shame that he was a criminal. or that's a shame that he was on some kind of drug. That's a shame. He shouldn't have been passing a counterfeit 20 or whatever the case may be. And we keep telling people, look, this is happening. That's not what happened. But without the videotape, white people are inclined to not believe that these things happen because their reality is black people are dangerous. They are
The
going to
sad
break.
part about it is with Donald Trump, even with the videotape, they still, you know what I'm saying, are in a situation.
And so, I watched this doc on the Rodney King beating on Let It All Fall on Netflix. I just rewatched it this past weekend, and I realized that I remember that time. And where the videotape showed them beating him, I remember a lot of my friends who happened to be white were like, why won't he just surrender? Why won't he just lay down? Why is he trying to fight the police? I was like, he's not trying to fight nobody. He's getting beaten. Why? But it is about perspective. It is, and their perspective is whatever protects my. There's a book that I think we all have read or at least are aware of called White Fragility. Whatever offends my white fragility. Oh, I didn't think that the police would ever do such a thing. All the police officers are great people. Most of them probably are. But we're talking about cops who wind up killing black people. We ain't even talking about cops who are just dirty cops that literally are out like, shaking down cats and snatching the bag off of dudes like, I ain't gonna run you in, but you had to give up that 15 stacks in the house. Cops were literally, and this was in that same documentary, running up in the houses, snatching the money, beating up a couple of guys, putting them in jail for the weekend, and then they get out with no charges. And you'd be like, well, how'd you get out with no charges? Well, the cop came in and stole $20,000 out of my sink. We ain't even talking about those cops. All we talking about are these one-off incidents. So we're looking at the tip of the iceberg, but down below the water where the iceberg is floating, that's what really sank the Titanic. What I'm saying is there's so much other shit in the game that we know about that white fragility is not exposed to.
Damn. I mean, we could talk about this for 2 more hours. But when you look at I guess where I'm trying to go real quickly is we can't even escape that narrative. That's the unfortunate part, because on one side you can say, okay, don't walk down the street and be yourself. Don't walk down the street and sag your pants. Don't walk down the street with your hood on. Don't walk down the street, or going to the store with, smelling like weed or whatever the case may be. In some instances, that's just kids being themselves. We're all watching this. We're all watching Your Honor on Showtime, and which is a really good, TV series. If you haven't watched it, you should check it out. But the only thing it made me think about was, but this is real life. There are judges and people in power, prosecutors and attorneys and district attorneys and all these other people who are in place where their kids mess up and do something stupid, and they find a way to get their kid out of the situation because they have power, they have influence, they have money. And I'm just sitting there thinking,
and the black boy dies.
And the black boy dies.
Oh, no.
Like, well, dang. And the black boy wasn't even doing anything. But going back to your point, man, this goes back to Birth of a Nation. I mean, you have seen me as this jigaboo, this coon, this ignorant person since you brought me over here. But then, not only that, you created all of these narratives in your kids' minds and your kids' minds and your neighbors' minds and the whole 9 yards. And then not only that, when we were getting out of it, you recreated it all over again. And then when we were getting out of it again, you recreated it all over again. I mean, we could go from Birth of a Nation to Jim Crow to separate but equal. We could go to the 80s and crack. We every so many years, you recreate the narrative to make me look like I am evil, or I am bad, or I am something that your kid doesn't need to be around, or you don't need to be around. And even in some instances, when I was finally starting to get cool with you, some of your other people decided, oh no, you don't need to be cool with them. No. You come over here. No, I know you poor too, and I know you, but you white and poor. You can't be poor and be cool with the black poor people. You got to be poor and be cool with the white people. So we can't even escape that narrative, because you could ask yourself like, yo, I think you said it last week or the week before, man. It was like, we got to be 2 times as better just to be
considered half as good.
Just to be considered half as good.
And that is the setup. We are. It's a setup. And what we have to also, and this is why, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about last week when I said this is why we need those firsts. We still need, we should not have to have first anything black, but the idea that continues to exist is an idea that they continue, or people continue to oppress and repress the progression of African Americans in this country. I just saw this stat the other day. No, it's earlier today. Doc Rivers, who coaches now the 76ers, is one of the 10 winningest basketball coaches in all time. There are 3 of them that are black out of 10. Now give this much thought. Other than a handful of black coaches, like 2 from pre-1980, we didn't have black coaches in the NBA. So how did all of a sudden 3 black coaches are among the 10 winningest? Because when we get in place, whatever it may be, I'm just taking basketball as a metaphor, we succeed. We go for it. The reason why the first is important is because Lou Piniella told America in the mid-'80s, black man ain't supposed to be the damn manager of a baseball team. He's not smart enough. They told us that black quarterbacks weren't smart enough. Donovan McNabb wasn't smart enough to be a black quarterback, to be a quarterback in the NFL. Oh, he's not smart enough. Black men can't pass this test to be a quarterback. Well, Pat Mahomes proved their asses wrong. Doug Williams proved their asses wrong. And we understand that these black quarterbacks succeed. This is just a metaphor. Barack Obama outperformed the presidents to the left and the right of him. It's just a metaphor. All these, every time we show up, we show out. And our level of, our baggage is not any greater than their baggage. They want to show our baggage more. And we just got to understand that that's the pictures that they paint. And certainly if you listen to hip hop, everybody is shooting and killing, and everybody is popping Molly and ecstasy. Everybody got a gun, everybody got a bag, and everybody got money. And you look around and ask yourself, who do you know that's really like that?
What do they call it?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember I worked with this woman, and I said this, and she was like, "Maynard, why do so many black men beat their wives and go to prison?" I was like, "What? Who are these people? I don't want to be around them. Who do you know that's doing that? You know me. You know Carl, who works here. You don't know any black men who do that. You just saying this." So when we really break it down, what are they talking about? They're talking about something that they want to believe to make them feel better about who they are as white folks.
They want separate but equal.
I mean,
the
last
like
thing I'll say, and I'll shut up. I know I said that once. We are 3 people who are just, Lamont and I particularly, because we're a little bit older than you, but you as well, we're just 10 years removed by birth from whites only, blacks only signs. They only came down in 68. Lamont, you were born in 70, right?
Yes, sir.
Spud, you were born in 75, 76?
75.
7 years earlier than that, It was a whites only water fountain and a whites only. I don't understand why where you shit and where I shit. This shit. You want to separate our shit? It's just shit. Our shit can't touch. The fuck out of it's crazy. I'm done.
Lamont, bring us on home.
I mean, we in trouble, y'all. See the queen that came in the chat. Ooh-wee.
I see.
Here's what I'm gonna say, man. Again, I think you're right. I think, I remember my mother telling me the story of when she was in Mississippi with my grandfather and a couple of my aunts when they heard 2 towns over about Emmett Till, and my granddad was like, I got to get my baby back to Detroit. I remember my uncle, who's in his 70s, like you said, have those conversations about certain parts of Detroit. It was whites only. You feel what I'm saying? Back in the day, that if you Southwest, that's where you were at. So, again, I just think that's what the history thing is about, bro. I think understanding that, we got to make sure that some of those that come behind us, Maynard, that they understand the history. And everybody ain't going to get it. I mean, and this thing is rigged. And like I said a long time ago, they're trying to kill us. They're trying to kill us psychologically, economically, and even physically. You know what I'm saying? I said this before, since the queen is in the chat, I'm never going to forget when I got mad at myself. I'm in the BMW, brand new. I got the best insurance. I got the most validest license, and I know that's probably not a word. And the police got behind me, and I tensed up. I'm like, nigga, what's wrong with you? Like, you ain't riding bad. But it's something about that, man. It's something about, being a black man, like I said in Minister Society, man. The hunt is on and we to pray, man. That's real.
It's post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Yes, man. It's real. So
is it post? It's present. I mean,
that's all I got, man. But again, we're here. We don't want to end it on a gloom and doom. You know what I'm saying? We gonna figure out this 2021. A lot of our brothers and sisters, unfortunately, have passed on due to this COVID thing. We got to keep our head low. Everybody that's in the chat, that's watching this, that'll hear this later, put your mask on. I'm not a vaccine guy. Other people on this podcast, maybe some of them are, whatever. But
listen, I don't get it. I'm sorry to cut you off, and I know we wrapping up, ladies and gentlemen. We are out. California, what is up? Georgia, what is happening?
Right.
ATL.
They popping down there, dude.
I mean, y'all act like there ain't no virus.
So they got the vaccine down there. That's why they got the cure.
Every state got the vaccine. Ain't nobody got the second shot yet.
Listen, Mr. Ruggs got a New Year's Eve party popping off down there in the A, man. 4,000 people.
I just saw Compound. Compound got a New Year's Eve party.
They pop.
Be slapping.
Popping.
Listen, I did a couple commercials for y'all. But listen, I'm just saying, listen, man, put your mask on. Let's do this thing right. I mean, I was watching Dr. Fauci, and he said, look, in order for us to be able to get, herd immunity, we got to get 75 to 80% of these people, vaccinated. And until we do that, it ain't even going to happen. We're going to be in mask till 2022, basically. And we just got to, do better, man. We just got to do better. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I know a lot of y'all waiting on, I don't want to say y'all, but a lot of people waiting on that stimulus package and that stimulus money so they can go back to Ruth Chris and run it up. That's not what it's about. Save your money, put your money aside, go out here and find you a job if you can. If you cannot, create a job. Do something. You got to hustle. If this is, your opportunity to be creative, figure it out. Because like Lamont said, I don't want to say they're trying to kill us, but listen, from Mitch McConnell to the government to these businesses, I saw, where the billionaires made more money than how billionaires getting more billions. They get more billions, and we're not getting no more billions. We're on the not getting billion side. Then they're on the getting billion side. There's something wrong with that picture, So Bless you guys so very much. Thank you so very much for joining us on this episode of Three Black Guys with the Mic. This is our last episode for 2020. We truly appreciate you guys riding with us for 2020. We truly appreciate it. We will be back for 2021.
Season 5.
Lamont has decided to stay on with us. So without him, there is no podcast. So he decided that he was going to stay around for another couple of weeks. So we will be back, January 4th? We'll be back January 4th.
Can we get a vacation? No, okay, January 4th.
And Merry Happy New Year to you too, Miss Bailey. We love you. We miss you. We can't wait to see you guys. Thank you so very much to everybody who has supported us through this year. I have to just give everybody a shout out. Danielle, Tina, Roderick, Frank Williams.
Gary Chandler.
Who else am I forgetting? Shout out to my son. My son has watched every episode this year. I'm like a celebrity now. You know what I'm saying? And my son is watching. My wife has supported us through this year. Who else am I missing? Your cousin, Lamont.
My cousin Janine.
Janine has.
My Aunt Cheryl jumps on. William Elmore.
Everybody who has been our tribe, you know what I'm saying? We cannot thank you guys enough. You
Kelly
have been
Collins.
our 12 only fans.
Stop, man.
And we appreciate it. We appreciate that. All the new people who have joined us, man, we ask you to share it with your friends. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as, get the notifications. We're here every Monday at 7 o'clock. Share it with your friends so that way your friends can be our friends and we can continue on to be able to grow this podcast. Danielle, Happy New Year. Frank, Roderick, did I miss anybody? Michael Bennett,
Barnett.
Gary
His name
Chandler,
is Barnett. Mike Barnett. I'm sorry.
Mike Barnett, thank you so very much. Everybody in Virginia, everybody in New Jersey, everybody in Detroit, all of our Maryland family, Chicago family. Thank you guys. It's been a great year, and we look forward to doing even bigger things in 2021. Have a fantastic night and Happy New Year. Peace.